Hey guys, this video is just to talk about the coronavirus and, my outlook on it and, what I kind of think of this whole thing. I did another video on this before, but I wanted to do a video at this point because where we are now is different from where we are in the beginning of this thing. In the beginning of this thing, we were told that this thing is a virus that's highly contagious, that's deadly. And, we were also told that the survival rate is about 98%. We were told that it can survive for long times and all this stuff. We were told that social distancing is important. We were told that quarantining is important and all these things that are traditionally really not used to fight airborne viruses. But anyway, we accepted those things. And now what we have is now we see, governors, we see politicians using this crisis to further their own agendas. We see some governors that would be more than delighted to keep their states closed for business as long as possible so that they can affect Trump's chances at being elected. We see Bill Gates, and we see other eugenicists coming out and using this crisis to be able to push forth mandatory vaccines, mandatory testing, and all these other things that violate our liberties. We see it, we see governors and we see states using this opportunity to crush and close churches. Even if they do practice social distancing at the church or if they worship in cars, they're using this opportunity to crush churches and so forth. So this has turned into being about more than just a virus, okay? So that's why I'm talking about this. And if you're one of those people who watches this and who sees this kind of a video and you think, oh, if you're so brave, then you go out there without a mask and you die. First of all, again, 98%, 99% survival rate, probably even higher, okay? Probably even higher, okay? That has to be considered, okay? The other thing that should be considered is the fact that we're all grown. Aren't we all going to grocery stores and going shopping in grocery stores, right? We're eating the fruits from grocery stores. We're eating the food from grocery stores that are touched by people that are, sure, we're all wearing masks and wearing gloves and so forth, but we're doing that. If this thing, I'm talking about the deadly version, because I believe that there's two strains out there. I believe that there's a mild strain out there that everybody can catch, that is nothing really serious. And then there's this really deadly strain that will have people on ventilators, and 80% of those people who go on the ventilators end up dying. There's two strains. There's two different strains that are out there. And I believe that the more deadly strain is not as contagious as people say it is. I believe that based on the data, that's just based on the information that's available, okay? So looking at all this, I just think it's so strange how, there are so many people out there that are so against reopening up our country. And it's like, how are you going to really know when is the right time to reopen the country? Are we going to rely on the government for that? We're going to rely on what scientists say? How do we know? How do we know what's out there? How do we know? We don't. So, like it or not, you're taking a leap of faith. Like it or not, you're taking a leap of faith. You're taking a leap of faith in your government, and you're taking a leap of faith in the science community. You're taking a leap of faith in the medical community. Don't say that you're basing it on science because you're not studying the science yourself. You're just taking it from the representatives of science. You're just taking it from the representatives of medicine. The representatives that the media is recognizing, by the way. Not the representatives that not the representatives that you're paying, not the representatives that are on your payroll. It's the representatives that the media is presenting to you. They're saying, hey, listen to Dr. Fauci. And you're saying, okay, I'm going to listen to Dr. Fauci. Because who? Because what? Because the media told you to listen to them. You looked up his credentials. You feel comfortable listening to him. Okay? Now, I'm not here to knock his credentials or not. He appears to be a real doctor. My whole point in saying this is that we should look at this with some kind of skepticism and some kind of realism and realize that there are powers that be around us that are using this opportunity to crush civil liberties, using this opportunity to damage our ability to be self-sufficient. If you look in Michigan, the governor there banned people from buying seed so they can't plant food. If you look at other places, these governors are now starting to, in my opinion, abuse their power, because now it's turned into more than just saving lives. They will say anything they will say anything under the guise or under the veil of saving lives now. Now you can't do A, B, C, or D because, oh, we're saving lives. You can't even question it. You can't even say anything because, oh, we're saving lives. Don't say a word. We're saving lives. And it's sad to me to see fellow citizens have adopted this mindset, mindlessly. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying you should go out there without gloves and without a mask and whatnot. But I am saying that, like, if you can go to a grocery store, why can't you go back to work wearing your mask? Why can't you go back to work wearing your gloves? Why can't you go back to church wearing your mask or wearing your gloves? You're going to a grocery store, where people are shopping and people are doing the same thing, touching the food, and, you go home and you wash it. You think that's enough? Come on. Like, I think that there's something wrong. I think that there's something that we're not being told. I think that there's a lot more going on, obviously. And, I've heard all the theories and I've read all the inside. I know that there's more. I know that there's military operations going on, based on what I've read. I know that there's, there's wars there's a covert war going on between the deep state and the Trump administration. I've seen that. I've seen Trump and the U.S. Treasury take over the reins of the Federal Reserve. I saw that. I've seen many things, but I just don't think that this thing should be. I think we're going about it the wrong way as citizens. I think the government and those in power are going about it exactly how we would expect them to go about it. I think that I think that the governors, the tyrants on the left, they're going about it exactly how we'd expect them to go about it. They're looking for a reason to crush civil liberties, keep you in your house, and find a reason for why you cannot work so they can continue to just send you checks. I will be the first to tell you that my business has not stopped running. My business is still running. My employees, most of them, especially for scale ops, have always worked remotely anyway. This New York Duct is one business that cannot run. We're not allowed to run. But my other two businesses are still operational. So I'm not really taking much of a hit here, but I'm just expressing that I think we should think about these things. You don't just throw the Constitution and throw your freedoms out the window just because people say that there's a virus, that you can catch it. And so, therefore there's a virus, so that, you got to be on house arrest. That you can't be told you're not allowed to go nowhere. You have to dress the way that they want you to dress. You got to wear what they want you to wear. These things deserve to be questioned. I'm not saying that it's not intelligent to follow protocol. Obviously, if there's an airborne virus outside and you can prevent yourself from catching it, you wear a mask, obviously. But to be mandated to do so, no. To be mandated to do so is wrong. You shouldn't be mandated to do anything. You shouldn't be mandated to put vaccines in your body. You shouldn't be mandated to dress a certain way just from walking around in the public. You shouldn't be mandated to do any of these things, okay? And in my opinion, I think that that's wrong. There's a way to go about these things, and then people say, oh, it's just all about saving lives. It's all about flattening the curve and social distancing because, you're selfish and you want people to die. No, I think that it's pretty selfish that, for a certain percentage of society, the rest of society has to stop functioning. That's not how things are supposed to work at the end of the day, and I'm sure people will respond to this. I've seen the responses on other people who sound like me. I've seen the responses on their page where people start getting upset with them because they think that those people are not thinking about the sanctity of life and things like that. And, they think that those people are risking death and being selfish and spreading this thing. I get it. I understand where those people are coming from. But at the same time, you can't shut down everyone's life just because you think that some people are going to die. You can't, and that's certain functions have been shut down. Certain things have been slowed down, but this is a little bit ridiculous at this point. I'm sorry, it is. If you can go to the grocery store and if you can go to the grocery store and you can wear a mask, you can wear gloves, then you should be able to go to church and wear a mask and gloves. You should be able to go to your work and wear a mask and gloves. Because in the grocery store, you're literally buying food that you will put in your mouth. You're literally buying food that you will put in your mouth. So if that's considered a safe, essential activity, then why, then how is anything else where you're not going to be buying stuff to put in your mouth considered non-essential and not safe? I don't understand. I think we're just taking cues. And I really think that, this comes down to where your faith lies. I don't believe a word that our government says. I don't believe a word that the media says. I don't believe a word that the media says. So in all prudence and in all wisdom, what I do is I wear a mask when I go out because there's a possibility that there's a virus out there. I wear gloves. I wash my hands. I take all the necessary precautions, but there's a middle ground to this thing. I take all the necessary precautions, but I don't believe that life should be shut down for this thing. There's a balance to this, I just think that this is kind of overblown. And again, it comes down to where your faith lies. If you have complete and total faith in the media and the government, then you'll be as scared as they tell you to be. You know what I mean? That's not where my faith lies. I've always had faith in God. I've always had faith in, and then after that, God is number one for me. After that, I have, I rely on my own thinking. I rely on analysis. I rely on being skeptical. I rely on information, and all the information that the media and the government is providing us with. Number one, a lot of it is conflicting. But what I can agree on, based on the information, is that the response to the numbers that are coming out is overblown. That's what I can agree on. Even if the numbers are 30,000 deaths, 40,000 deaths, 50,000 deaths, even if those are the numbers, it still pales in comparison to the population at large. Okay? And if this virus was spreading as quickly as people said it was, and if it's as deadly as people say it is, then my thing is that most people would have caught it by now. The majority of people have not caught it. Most people would have caught it. I'm talking about the deadly version, the one that puts people on ventilators. Most people would have caught that strain by now, if that was the case. That's what everybody is citing, and that's what everybody is saying to be scared of. But that doesn't seem to be the one that's going around. What seems to be going around is the asymptomatic and the lightweight version of it. And that one doesn't appear to be any kind of problem. What appears to be the problem is the one that is the heavyweight one, the one that puts people on ventilators. That one is not spreading as quickly. Sure, it has claimed some lives, but it has not claimed as many lives in comparison to the population of the United States. And you still have a low likelihood of getting it. And even if you do get it, you have a low likelihood of dying from it. That's what it is. So I don't think that society should stop for it. Society doesn't stop for influenza. Society didn't stop for, society did not stop for a lot of things that kill people. Society is stopping for this because it's not just about a virus. There's a lot of agendas at play here. And I think that you would have to be completely naive and blind to not see that. There's a lot of agendas at play here. I'm a believer in God. I believe in a lot of things, but one thing I don't believe in is I don't believe in the media and the government. And I think that the people who do believe in the media and the people who do believe in the government, I think it's ridiculous that some of you have allowed yourself to get scared to the point where you're enraged that people don't take it like you take it. You're enraged. You're enraged because the media told you to be enraged. You're scared because the media told you to be scared. It doesn't mean you can't take necessary precautions, but for you guys to be fear-mongering the way that you're fear-mongering and to be going off every single day and to be so negative and to be so scared and the world is over, you guys are ridiculous. You guys are brainwashed, and I just can't stand it. It's absolutely insane that you allow the media to get this far into your heads. It's absolutely insane. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And you know what the problem is? The problem is that you guys, you put your faith, you put your worship, you put your ideas, you put your whole life based on what the media tells you. A couple of celebrities come out and tell you to do A, B, C, D, you do A, B, C, D. That's the problem. The problem is that you guys don't have God in your life. And as a result, you follow any little puppet that they trot out to you on TV. You know, that's why you guys don't have peace. Something like this, like for me, this thing has not caused me fear. What this thing has given me is perspective. You know, nothing in my life has changed. Thank you, by the grace of God, nothing in my life has changed. But to see people, I understand that people have been displaced out of work and things like that, and people are struggling. I get that. But to see people just like completely and totally lose their minds because of what the media is doing and saying is ridiculous. The media is not even reporting the recoveries, which grossly outweigh the deaths. That should tell you that they're trying to scare you. But instead of like reporting all that good stuff, they report all the negative stuff because they want to keep the fear mongering going. They want to push their agenda, and they can't do it without your cooperation. They can't do it without your fear. They need your fear to be able to push these agendas, and you're just giving it to them. You're not even resisting it. You're just giving it to them. So the media said it, it must be true. It's ridiculous. And then not only are you giving it to them, you're insisting that other people join you in your delusions and your fear. It doesn't make any sense, you know, because you guys don't have God. You guys don't have anything. So it's just like this. As soon as the media tells you that your whole life is done, your whole life is done. It's sad. Honestly, it's sad.